Verde.
Why are you looking down when you said it like that?
Gisele, good memories.
Oh, okay, sawa.
Gisele, yeah. So the capital city, Praia, and it is located on Santiago Island, non-island country in the central Atlantic Ocean of the west coast of Africa, about 600 kilometers from Senegal. We had the Senegalese president here for Mashujaa Day celebrations. A good man. Have you read his bio?
Yeah, very interesting. Bassirou Faye, very interesting man. Just 41. He's 41 now. He was in jail.
Yes.
Was he not in jail a few days before the election?
Yeah. Yeah. By profession, he is a tax investigator.
Ah, right.
So he's a man of the money. Yeah, official language is Portuguese, and they also speak one called Crioulo, which is Cabo Verdean Creole. Yeah. But let's go to the proverb that Cabo Verde gave us today. Every step has its time.
Every step has its time.
How would you interpret that?
Well, I mean, I think about it one step at a time. You if you're going to move in a certain direction, if you're going to go a certain place, that you can't put the cart before the horse. That there's an order that you need to follow. And if you don't follow that order, you will get in trouble in one way or another, or things will not turn out the way they were supposed to. So things are ordered. There is step. There is, there's the rhythm that you should follow. And I think that's it for all of us. We've got to step into it. And you take one step at a time, and you take it in a particular order. If you don't, you mess up the thing. You mess up the pattern. So I guess it's a lesson as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I look at it in terms of everything has its time, So you want to become the greatest engineer, you got to go through classes. You got to love physics, you got to love STEM subjects for you to end up being the greatest engineer there is, So you can't get there before going through the process.
Absolutely.
So just being patient and working towards the goal that you want to achieve,
And trust the process, I guess, as well.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good one. Interesting. One step at a time. Every step has its
time.
Every step has its time. Okay, guys.
The only time both steps will move together is when you jump. But even if it's walking, every step has its time.
You can't walk two steps at the same time.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're not walking.
You're not walking.
You're doing something else. I love it. Somebody said they saw me in Kitui. I swear it wasn't me.
Me, I saw you.
In Kitui.
So through my TV.
Wallahi, I was not in Kitui. If you saw me in Kitui, hey, those are problems.
I know.
Kabisa. All right. Hi, Spice FM Shak Bet. Good morning to you. How are you doing? Karibu Sana. And thanks for joining us in the room today. Peter Kiarie tuned in from Mombasa. Then Moses said to him, if your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here. May the Almighty's presence go with you this week. Amen. Peter, good morning. Asante Sana. Agola says, good morning, Spices. It's been a minute. Indeed, it has been a while. Thank you for keeping it together and joining us as we get back into it today. Robert Mbogo says, good morning, everybody. Tuned in from Mombasa. Good morning to you. And Desmond Ortiz says, soon Baba is going to miss on newspaper headlines as he used to trend. Ooh, rest in peace, Jacom. We still remember.
Yeah.
For sure. Rose Gray says, tuned in from Menera. Morning, Team Spice. We are still mourning, indeed. Today's a 7th day of mourning, as it were.
Yeah.
Stanley Ngasha says, good morning, Team TSR. Great lessons around culture passed on to the future generations at Bondo. Rest well, Raul. King Dave says, good morning, the living ones. We thank God for another precious day. Indeed, we do. Don Salbo says, yes, Baba is gone. Baba is buried. We are still mourning. Ask Okari and Aseto. We'll ask Aseto. Is it true that Baba told them, as they screamed, Baba told me at the burial ceremony? Are we able to prove it?
That's a debate. Time will tell.
Indeed. Are we able to actually prove? Everybody had a thing. Baba told me.
Everything had a thing to say. Even me, if I want, I can have something to say.
Yeah. Baba told me.
Baba told me.
Yeah.
So, only that Baba is not yet confirmed that. So, yeah.
Rest in peace, Baba. Wishing you all God's peace as we mourn Baba. Do it well on TV. Where did you people see me yesterday?
I saw you.
Where? Eugene Odiambo says, life without Baba won't be easy at all. Nevertheless, life has to continue. Go well, Jacom. Good morning, Team Spice. Good morning to you. Tuned in from Kikuyu is Eugene Odiambo. Carol Nyambura is tuned in. Our Penda Sana, wishing you a blessed day ahead. Thank you so much. Isaac Hale, good morning. D&D, yes. What is going to take to keep you legends on air through the holidays? Ask Lydia. What's it gonna take? Spice FM withdrawal is no joke. I need my daily dose. Sawa, watch how we deliver a double today. Sindo. Michael Olande says, bonjour mes amis, bonjour à toi. Jogu Monica says, good morning Spice. Maisha inaweza kuwa ngumu bila Spice FM. It feels surreal that Baba is no more. I can't wait for the coming days politically. Itakuwa noma. Kibagendi bado anakuja. Anakuja wapi? Tunamtafuta usijali, don't worry, we'll ask him. Wagwan. Gu to Ogembo says good morning. Team tuned in. Simon Mati is tuned in from Mombasa. Sarah Kilonzo says good morning Spice. We are back to normal business. Rest in peace Raila. Where and when was the public participation of the bills Ruto signed into law? C'est la question, no? Oui, where was public participation, you guys? Dan Steele Lagat says good morning Chibebe. Good morning to you. Missed you. We will miss Baba more, indeed. Josh Willie says, good morning. Wish you all a blessed day. Kim, my goodness, where have you been? Good morning. You have greeting yourselves? Okay. Have a blessed day and favored life now and beyond. Leo's hello, Princess Ndu. Good morning to you. Dennis and Aseto, welcome back to Mashujaa. Asante Sana. Kenya slowly but steadily becoming a fund nation. But for the important thing like education, health, food, security, nada. Zach OK says, good morning, Spice family. Minneapolis, Minnesota tuned in here. A new era and dispensation. Situation room, Spices. We here. Erica War says, good morning, guys. Good morning to you. Kisa Daniel is also tuned in this morning. Christopher Ogore says, tuned in from Maseno. I feel like part of me died, but it shall be well. Fare thee well, Jacom. Washoga Toto says, good morning, Ndu and the boys. Do you know how many bands we could come up with? The names for the bands are amazing. It will take, I pray that Kenya will mature politically. Have a great day and a week ahead, indeed. A good prayer to have. Bree Bishanga says, good morning. It's a new week, indeed. It is. Nyaundi says, good morning. Bwangi Juma's here as well. How are you this blessed Tuesday? We're doing all right. Fiery Red is tuned in and says, good to be back. Asante Sana. Peter, not quite sure. Let's look into that and I'll come back to you. Esil Nzomo says, good morning. All condolences to the Odinga family. We're all still sad. Abraham Kimeli says, good morning. Can Martha acknowledge that Raila won the election in 2007? Well, we'll ask her when she comes, won't we? Iregiwa he says, good morning. Nice to see you back ready for our daily dose. Asante Sana. Good morning. The Nairobi says, good morning, team. Kasongo is overworking. Oh, okay. 2 term, you say? All right. Sokoine Olepunda says, good morning, Team Spice. Ndu nilikuona Kitui jana. Walai haikuwa mimi. Pan-African Kenya says, good morning from Nairobi. George Okoth is tuned in this morning and says, good morning to everybody. Why wait to honor the Prime Minister after his demise? He can't appreciate when he's no longer here. Okay. Tanai Naisuma says, good morning, tuned in from Nairobi. Dr. Venvik says, Sija believe Rao Hayuko. I know. Jeffrey Nichols is tuned in this morning. Stella S says, the Kenyan political landscape will never be the same. May Raila Odinga rest in peace. Alex Mwani says, Ruath. What does that mean?
Ruath is a bull.
Oh, a bull.
Think, yeah.
Okay. Wenzel Dashington says, good morning, tuned in from Matuga. Mtuflani, good morning all. I missed everybody. Imagine. Missed you too, Mtuflani. Actually, I thought about you on Saturday and I was like, at a time like this when we're not on air, what's Mtuflani doing like right now? I thought about that actually.
Yeah. Good
morning, Spice. God loves Kenya, says Kelly Ahuta. Good to see folks that sometimes you don't see them every day here in the room. Asante Sana. And lovely to have all of you in the room this morning. All right, we're going to take a minute and look into the newspaper headlines and highlight some stories that are making those headlines. We'll look into the Bold newspaper this morning, The Standard. Kenya's Bold newspaper, honored in death. The weight of Raila Odinga's name hung heavy on President William Ruto's heart and tongue as he addressed the nation from Kitui during Mashujaa Day celebrations. More than 20 times he invoked the late opposition leader's name, praising his courage and sacrifice before posthumously conferring on him Kenya's highest honor, that of Chief of the Order of the Golden Heart. Across the counties, governors joined the celebrating man in celebrating a man whose death carries a striking irony. Once Kenya's most persecuted politician, Raila Odinga, is now enshrined amongst its greatest heroes. For sure, everybody had something to say. Leaders celebrate Raila. There is Fatuma Chani, who is the Kwale governor. Raila stood firm in the fight for the birth of a new constitution. And and the establishment of devolved governments that have brought services closer to the marginalized people. Kenneth Lusaka, who's the Bungoma governor, says he may not have been president, but his legacy is presidential. We praise him as a man who gave his life to the cause of freedom, equality, and inclusion. He gave life to devolution and fought for a constitution that protects our rights and diversity. A true patriot, says Simon Kachapin, who is the West Pokot governor and founding father of Kenya's devolution system. His fight for democracy and inclusive governance has transformed grassroots lives. Julius Malombe, who is the Kitui governor, in whose home Mashujaa was celebrated yesterday. In a special way, I applaud the departed former PM, Raila Odinga, as an outstanding and awesome Shujaa whom Kenyans are celebrating for championing multi-party democracy, constitutional reforms, defending devolution, justice and the rule of law. Oscar Sudi, who is the Kapsaret Member of Parliament, says Raila was a true man of God, known for reaching out to his political enemies for the sake of the people. I was impressed by the peace shown by the people of Kisumu. Tower. All right, that's what the headline looks like. And of course, there is an inscript of the Kenya Gazette where these highest honors were accorded to Raila Odinga. And the words of President William Ruto, the first lesson that Baba taught us is to put country above self. Time and again, he reminded us that no agreement, no disagreement is greater than our unity, no ambition more important than our peace, and no personal interest higher than the welfare of our nation. There's a story on page 2. This is the headline. We'll look into it later. How we buried a hero on Sunday and crowned hypocrites on Monday. So, of course, you know, Mashujaa Day is the day where a lot of these awards are conferred upon people. Yeah. And we'll look at some of those beneficiaries of those awards. But there's the highlight. Buried a hero Sunday, crowned hypocrites Monday. Raila celebrated as a father of devolution across counties. This is one thing, it was very clear. That's another story that we carry there. Beyond the grave, even in death, Raila refuses to leave the stage. It was interesting to see former President Uhuru Kenyatta back in Bondo on Monday morning. Just to say, I mean, it was clear his position when it came to his friendship with Raila Odinga. And not just friendship, but brotherhood. He said that a couple of times. Brotherhood. Kalonzo, opposition leaders skip Mashujaa Day ceremony in Kitui. Very interesting. I think this was a really interesting one. We'll talk about it with Martha Karua today. But everybody was expecting, number one, to see Kalonzo. One. Two, that he was left out of a number of things on the program over the funeral. True. Him and Raila Odinga for at least 10 years were in the trenches together. Fighting for this thing. What do we do? Kalonzo gave up his spot so many times and said, you know what, let's go into this thing together. And then to be left out, he flew back from London very quickly, to be left out on Friday, and then spoke on Saturday. And then by the time he was there on Sunday, but by the time he had been given a wreath to lay, he was gone. So there are many things here that are playing out. And then in Kitui, which happens to be Kalonzo's home county, it's his backyard. And the thought was that the man to then watch now is Kalonzo Musyoka. But there were many barbs that the president threw his speech. And one of the things that he said is, we're going to bring to the people of Kitui, Machakos, Makueni, things that leaders who've been in power for the longest time have never been able to deliver. He said this yesterday. One would have expected that Kalonzo would have been there for Mashujaa, but he wasn't. Is that something that's being said? We can get into politics proper. And we'll see how that goes. Raila's devolution vision that shaped the healthcare agenda. We'll look into some of this. So, I mean, we're looking at pages after pages of these stories. And even as that is happening, we're getting into a few days of exams, and exam season kicks off as KCSE starts. CBC tests set for next week. So the CBCs that we're looking at are Kepsea, which starts on 27th, and Kijisea, which also begins next week. So that's the season that we're getting into now, even as all of these things continue to happen. So
we're getting to exam period. Has competition been sent?
No.
Great.
Over to you.
Why? Daily Nation. Raila shadow looms over Mashujaa Day celebration. A day after the burial of Raila Odinga, memories of the veteran opposition leader lingered over the Mashujaa Day celebrations, with President Ruto devoting a major part of his address at Ithokwe Stadium in Kitui to paying glowing tribute to the former Prime Minister who died last week aged 80. Similar messages dominated speeches in the regions where speakers challenged leaders to observe the ideals that the ODM leader stood for, including defending civil liberties, protecting devolution, and upholding the rule of law. One would ask the question, when Raila Odinga was alive, was this the same message being spoken of? The ideas that he stood for, devolution, rule of law, justice, a respect for human rights. Anyway. No politicians made heroes list. Those to be honored include Kenya's most famous writer, Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who died last year. That is in the list of heroes who were honored yesterday by President William Ruto. The president goes on charm offensive of Kitui County, and it's rightfully said. The president said development would be going to Kitui County, as well as questions or an explanation as to why Uhuru returned to Raila's grave when the body of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga was lowered into the grave on Sunday evening. Most of the dignitaries and security officers who had attended the solemn ceremony quickly departed, but one man lingered, former President Uhuru Kenyatta. You remember when everyone left, Uhuru was left sitting? He didn't leave. Yeah, he didn't leave.
Actually, he sat in Bondo for a while.
Yeah. And then Sunday he was back, and we saw him. Monday he was back. Alone with a few people. It was more of, this is my time with this man. You know, away from the cameras, away from everybody else. This is just my time with this man, you know. Yeah.
It wasn't pretentious.
No, it wasn't pretentious.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you remember the very first time he also went to the family and he literally broke down.
He did.
Literally broke down, and it's been there throughout. Wherever at the airport when you're receiving the body, to mention it. You know,
to Nyayo, and then going to Kisumu, and then Bondo, and then coming back to Bondo Monday. He was there.
Yeah.
He is there.
But then again, there is a fresh blow to Treasury's e-procurement plan. Why? Parliament has delivered yet another setback to the National Treasury's push to enforce the controversial electronic government procurement system after a committee tasked with the implementation of House resolutions annulled 2 additional circulars tied to its rollout. Now, the National Assembly Committee on Implementation has recommended that the House void to the regulations after the House voted to annul circular number 4 of 2025 of August 12th. So pretty much this e-procurement plan, itangoja kidogo.
Kiasi.
You want to look at the Star?
All right. Okay. On the front page of the Star, Ruto to craft new power plan upon Raila exit. Okay, not too soon.
Yeah.
So the people who might be in this power plan, as you see on the front page, I don't know, but the person who said that a picture says 1,000, tells 1,000 words, or whatever the phrase is. So there are people here apparently that might form part of a power plan. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, and of course Chair of ODM, Mining and Blue Economy CS Hassan Joho, who interestingly enough on Sunday said, I will do ODM and Raila Odinga. That is all I'm going to do. So let it not be confused in your head that I'm going to do anything outside of what Raila Odinga would have wanted me to do. I don't know what that means. People were speaking in parables, but the one person who did not speak in parables was Edwin Sifuna.
Yep.
And he said, look here, what are you guys talking about? Who told you that ODM is not going to field somebody in 2027?
Baba
and he said
spoke.
This in public.
Yeah.
He said it publicly. Who told you? Stop spreading rumors. So it's going to be a very interesting time moving forward in terms of who's going to do what. The Star is giving a bit of an insight into that, and we're probably looking at a couple of days when we're going to start to see these formations of a political nature. It is going to happen. We're still in mourning, but it is going to happen because people need to fast align themselves.
Yeah.
Remember that November 27th.
Yeah.
Is just a month and 6 days away.
Yep.
That's a by-election that's taking place. And remember, we've been told that this is a litmus test to see what will happen come 2027. So people want to align and they want to do it now. They want to know which way forward. And this is when you'll be able to separate the wheat from the chaff as concerns what all these people who've been saying, Baba told me I was with Baba, I sat under the table when Baba was eating, and he told all of those people. You will be able to separate and be able to know truly who is where.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, and it's going to happen very quickly. His best bet is to lock Rift Valley vote 100%, giving him a head start of 3 million votes. That's what we are being told that they want to do. Okay, so, well, let's see. Time will tell, and it may not be too far from now. First time Raila used a presidential jet amid his flights with Moi. That's a story that's carried there. And there's a story here about a death sentence upheld for a border rider despite appeal. James Kamau was sentenced to death for robbing a rider of his motorcycle along Nairobi's Uhuru Highway in 2014. And now, despite his spirited appeals, he will have to remain on death row. So, robbery with violence is a capital offense under the Penal Code. And usually, the highest sentence is actually death. Both the High Court and the Court of Appeal upheld his conviction and sentence. The robbery took place in 2014. According to the court records, Kamau, together with his accomplice who was not arrested, violently robbed Jeffrey Ndeto Mutuku of a Honda motorbike, registration number KMDG 508M, valued at 99,000 shillings. You've done this, but then it looks as though you will not just go to prison, but you will be on death row. My goodness, he was found in possession of the stolen bike shortly after the robbery and failed to give a credible explanation. The court ruled the evidence met the legal threshold for robbery with violence. It is a capital offense. That's a tough one, but hey. Ruto to craft new power plan after the death of Raila. Of course, that's what it looks like. How Odinga's death could change the 27 election matrix. It definitely will. There's definitely no question. It has already. There is no question about that. And also looking at Nyanza, big names likely to fill Raila's void and chart a new course. Senator Oburu Oginga, of course, Raila's older brother. Siaya Governor James Orengo, who, interestingly enough, gave a scintillating speech in Bondo on Sunday. And if you didn't get what he said, perhaps you need to go and listen to it again. Not just to us who listened, but to the people that he was speaking to. Embakasi East MP Babu Owino is another name that's coming up there, and folks are already talking about him. But hey, also, he didn't say a word. During the... of course, he was not given. He stood up and was recognized as a member of parliament in the ODM party. But the crowd spoke.
Yeah. Especially in Nyayo.
Yes.
Because I remember he got in and was just walking and the crowd spoke. Even outside Parliament on the very day when they were climbing the gate.
When the itinerary changed from Parliament to Kasarani, he's the one that got everybody to calm down.
Yeah.
So that's something. He didn't open his mouth, but something was said.
Yes.
And it's getting everybody with their knickers in a twist, unfortunately. Energy and Petroleum CS, Opio Wandai, of course, is one that's there as well. Radieda, Member of Parliament, Otiende Amolo, and Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga. These are all names that are, of course, now starting to come into it. MyGov this morning gives a tribute to Rights Honourable Raila Amolo Odinga, and that's the weekly review coming in from government. So those are some of the headlines that we're looking into. We'll look into some of these stories in detail. I pass it over to you. Want to go with one?
Let's go. Okay. I want us to look at what is being said right now. The name Tributes and contributions of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga dominated speeches across the country as citizens marked Mashujaa Day Monday, a day after the veteran leader was accorded a state funeral. President William Ruto dedicated a huge chunk of his speech in praising Mr. Odinga as a foremost example of unmatched patriotism and unwavering love for Kenya. The president posthumously conferred upon the late leader of the Orange Democratic Movement, the country's highest civilian honor, the Chief of the Order of the Golden Heart of Kenya, First Class. President Ruto rallied the country to emulate the ideals of the former Prime Minister and what he stood for. Addressing the nation from Ithokwe Stadium in Kitui County, less than 24 hours after Mr. Odinga was laid to rest in Bondo, Siaya County, he said the state recognition placed Mr. Odinga's name among Kenya's foremost national heroes. And he said, as the nation continues to observe the 7 days of mourning since the passing of our former Prime Minister, it is both befitting and worthy that we anchor this year's Mashujaa celebrations in the extraordinary and consequential life of a departed legend, the retired Honorable Raila Odinga. A video clip of Mr. Odinga's life, including his favorite song, Farewell Jamaica, by legendary American singer Harry Belafonte, was played to the audience as Dr. Ruto used the occasion to advocate for a Kenya free of negative ethnicity. You know, these are things that Raila Odinga throughout his life continued to preach and continue to push, respect for life, love country more than self, than your own ambitions, rule of law, talk about devolution, one would say even early capitation to schools, early disbursement of funds to the counties to champion devolution. And these are things that he continues to champion for, that the president recognized that the only hope there is that let's hope it's not just talk.
Yeah.
Let's walk it. Because it would have been amazing if Raila Odinga lived to see things he fought for get to happen, but that we recognize his contribution to where the country is today. Let's live by what he wanted, what he dreamt of, and let's just live by the constitution that he fought for. All right. I mean, these are some of the stories that it'll come out, and I think more and more over the next, not even days, hours, you'll start to see and you'll start to hear the underlings of all of this. How we buried a hero on Sunday and crowned hypocrites on Monday. This is a story that's carried in the Standard as the nation slowly emerges from 5 solemn days of mourning and reflection, a rare collective pause to honor Raila Amolo Odinga, the man who fondly was called Baba, the father of modern democracy. The country once again finds itself confronted with uncomfortable questions about the meaning of honor and integrity. From the dusty lanes of Kibera to the manicured lawns of State House, from border riders in Kisumu to Mamamboga in Mudhurwa Market, and even from the pulpits of Nyeri, Kenyans united in grief and gratitude for a man whose life embodied sacrifice and conviction. Sunday, we laid him to rest at his father's home in Bondo as political leaders, clergy and citizens from all walks of life pledged to carry forward his legacy of selfless service and unyielding commitment to justice. Yet, 24 hours later, barely, before the flowers on his grave could even wilt, Kenya slipped back into business as usual on Mashujaa Day as the nation celebrated more than 180 nominated individuals as heroes. Parliament's honor roll stood out like a scar on our collective conscience. Parliament released a list of 60 nominees for national honours, dominated by elected officials. The list included 11 senators, 35 members of the National Assembly, and 14 government officials nominated under Elder, Chief and Moran of the Order of the Burning Spear categories, individuals whose reputations are forever soiled by drama. The irony could not have been sharper, coming barely a day after Kenya buried Raila, a man whose entire life embodied integrity, sacrifice and the fight against impunity, as eulogized by many of the very individuals who went on to preside over these questionable honors. Ledama Olekina is one of the beneficiaries. Wahome Wamatinga, who is the senator in Nyeri County, nominated for Chief of the Order of the Burning Spear. Ledama Olekina has been nominated for Elder of the Order of the Burning Spear.
Mohammed Said Chute, who is a senator, Marsabit County, nominated for CBS. David Wafula, Senator Bungoma, nominated for CBS. Jonas Mashujaa, Senator Taita Taveta, nominated for CBS. Issa Juma, Senator Kwale, nominated CBS. William Kimoy, Senator, nominated CBS. All the rest, nominated CBS. James Ekwoma, Veronica Minor, Hamida Kibwana, Beth Kalunda, Silvanus Osoro, Junet Mohammed, Gladys Boss Sholei, Naisula Lesuda, Otiende Amolo, Dido Raso, William Kamket, Eve Obara, Mark Mwenje. So do that with that information as you...
The question is, of all the individuals, so Raila Odinga getting the highest honors the country can never give an individual for their service. It is out there for everybody to see. Let's go to that list. Pick any name and tell me.
I don't know.
What you remember them and what it is they've done.
I'm looking at these honors that will be conferred on somebody. And of course, hearing the comments that you ask yourself the question, do we just pass them out?
That's the question, yeah.
As in, okay, anybody can have one just because you've not had one before.
What's the criteria?
And everybody needs to have one. Isn't it a serious thing that you confer these honors on somebody because of either a lifelong commitment that they've made towards a particular cause,
or a contribution,
that they've made, something that they've stood for no matter what, that they've achieved certain things as a result of this, dedication that they have? Wouldn't that be how you would honor individuals? But it does appear as though these honors are, okay, well, it's 2025. You never got a shot at it before, so let's give you one. That's what it looks like, because what's the threshold that you need to have crossed in order to then be attaining of these honors?
When you're ticking these boxes, what are some of the must-have achieved, some of the achievements that one must have for them to be considered for this? Remember, Ngugi wa Thiong'o was equally awarded, but... let's just talk about it. If you look at what it is done, you can place your finger on it. But anyway.
All right. So, of course, as this continues to happen, there are just so many stories that are being looked into now. What's next for the behemoth or political empire? People are saying ODM must remain and continue to do the thing that Raila said it was doing while in the broad-based government. Well, until when is the question. Until when?
Until when?
And under whose leadership will it happen? Are we going to see an ODM that is going to be led by Oburu Oginga? Is that going to happen? Will he be, the party leader? The chairman still remains Gladys Wanga. Will he be the party leader of ODM? What's going to happen? Speculation is rife in terms of who won't stay. According to one Robert Alai, who is the Kileleshwa Ward MCA, Sifuna won't stay in ODM beyond November. We wish him well. Okay, I don't know.
Again, he's in the party?
Sorry?
What again is he in the party?
Alai.
Alai. Member?
Party member.
Okay, let's continue.
Okay. So, he just said like that.
Okay.
So, we don't know, but yeah. If there was anybody who was very clear about his position, and if you woke him up in the middle of the night and asked him to recite it backwards in another language, this was Edwin Sifuna, and he would be able to do it. This is the position, this is what Baba said, it's what Baba says I will do, and I'm speaking this as Edwin Sifuna. I have my own mind, but I'm standing here. Many times Raila would be right behind him, and he would say it, and this is it.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that if it had not been endorsed by, agreed upon by Raila Odinga, Edwin Sifuna would not be saying it. So, you can say what it is that you want to say, but how this ODM will remain intact. People are saying ODM, everybody's agreed that ODM must remain intact. The how is what people have not agreed on, and it looks like they may not agree on for some time.
The how part the how part is easy to answer by asking the question, do they embody the character of the man Raila Odinga and what he stood for? If they buy into these things that Raila Odinga stood for, then it would be easy and no-brainer that ODM would stand using certain values. But if the members in there do not even understand what Raila Odinga stood for, then the question is, how will they stand together?
If there's already a split, or if there's already friction or tension, you're going to have to ask the question, okay, so how are we going to do this when,
Because on whether even to have a candidate in 2027, did Raila pronounce himself on the same?
Yes, he did. Who told you that we're not going to have one?
Exactly, and that's exactly what Sifuna was saying. So everybody else who seems to be saying the contrary, you have to ask them the question, why are you present when Raila Odinga took a position on this matter? And what's your position on the same?
He said it publicly, and interestingly enough, Edwin Sifuna went to the point where he even quoted the hotel on the date when he said this thing. If you were not there, it is in the public arena. It can be played for you.
Yes.
We can see what he said. So, like I said, this week, it's not too soon for politicians. The likelihood of them being pronouncing themselves on this particular issue is very high. And we're going to start to see it. We're going to start to hear it. Insensitive or not, we're going to hear it.
Yeah. So there's this issue of the exams, yeah? So let's talk about this. The 2025 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination begins today. These will be followed by Kenya Junior School Education Assessment and the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment concurrently next week for 3 days. Kenya National Examinations Council (NEC) says all systems are in place to ensure credible and seamless process despite logistical and financial challenges affecting schools. What logistical and financial? Capitation. Right. Now, KCSE examination will commence with oral papers for foreign and sign languages, including French, German, and Kenyan Sign Language, before moving to practical examinations from October 22nd to October 31st. Written papers will follow from November 4th to November 21st. NEC Chief Executive Officer David Njegere confirmed that a total of 996,078 candidates have registered for KCSE this year. Next week, he added that 1,298,089 candidates will sit for KPSEA, while 1,130,669 learners, the pioneers of the competency-based education CBE, will sit the inaugural KJSEA or KJSEA.
Yeah.
He noted that while security officers will be limited to key logistical roles in KPSEA and KJSEA, each KCSE examination center will have at least 2 security officers to safeguard examination integrity. NEC will deploy 10,765 center managers, 12,126 supervisors, 54,782 invigilators, and 22,247 security officers to manage the KCSE examinations. Additionally, 2,692 drivers will assist in logistics, particularly in regions affected by poor roads and rains. NEC Chairperson Julius Nyabundi assured the country that all preparations were complete, noting that fairness and transparency will guide the entire process. Okay. Exams kick off today. KGSEA and KPSEA will start next week.
Yeah, 27th.
27th.
Yeah.
But even while at that, the body itself admits that there are challenges when it comes to matters to do with funding and logistics. You know, they've given us a breakdown on who will go where, a deployment that will take place. But even while at that, there are issues to do with especially CBE, the inaugural class, are they prepared for the assessment, noting the challenges that they have gone through the entire time?
I don't know. It just, there's so many things that this particular class have had to do.
Yeah.
They are the same ones who've had to sit to make the STEM choices, or not the STEM choices, but to make the pathway choices.
Pathways, yes.
And then now they're sitting this exam, which we're told is just an assessment. It's not what will allow you to go to grade 10. It's essentially to assess where you are. But the thing is, for me, whereas before an exam would place you in the next class, if this is an assessment, that means that your incoming teachers, your incoming teachers should be able to look at your grades and then say and that's what the whole...
Yeah.
Man, That's what the whole curriculum means.
Yes.
That when you assess a student, that you now, my teacher, as you're coming in, you know that I scored this or this, and this is where my competency reaches.
Yeah.
This is where it lies. So when I come into grade 10 next year, you should be so in touch that then you're able to guide in a particular. That's what competency means. I think we use it. It sounds sexy. It's a curriculum. We use it, but do we really know what it means? When we're looking at a competency-based education, that's what it means. That teachers, you have enough of them, that you don't have such huge classes, that you then be able to, you as a teacher and your assistant, you're able to guide the student based on their competence.
And then, right now you realize that even when students were picking the pathways, some were told by the parents to pick specific pathways,
Pick this one.
Pick
you are
this
going
one,
to pick STEM.
Yes, STEM. But then again, after the assessment, as a teacher, you're able to see where the strength of this child is, and you're able to advise.
How much do I have in my account? Okay. I bet you all the remaining money, that's as little as it is, that the teachers who are going to be teaching grade 10 next year will not even have an idea of what these students are going to score in this assessment. No idea.
And you see, at that point is where you get now the misrepresentation of facts. Because you will be teaching a student who perhaps should have taken a different pathway. And throughout this child's life, will be misdirected to something that they are not competent to handle. Meanwhile, walimu wanasema, what's his name? Ministry of Education schools have grappled with several challenges ahead of the national examinations. Guess who that is? Chairperson Willie Kuria, a Kenya School Heads Association, that government capitation is a big problem.
Sasa, if you've not paid, okay, so the money that you sent essentially was going to take care of a balance of term 1 and a little bit of the balance of term 2. You still have a balance from term 2, and you have the entire amount of term 3 having not been paid.
Yeah.
What do you expect that they're going to do?
So schools will close early.
They've already closed.
Hey.
Children have gone home. The only children that are coming back to school are the Form 4s and some of the grade 6s.
The grade 6s.
Yes, they've closed. High schools, by the way, some high schools have already closed. So Form 2s and 3s in some schools have already gone home.
Go home.
Yeah, because what are they keeping them in school for?
There's no
money.
There's
There's no money. Some high schools have actually sent their children home, and that's what we're dealing with, and we'll continue dealing. Good morning, 7 a.m.
Spice up your life. This is the Situation Room, the only way.